three. Good.
Step back three. That's a good shot for three.
Stepping through off the window, good.
Stepping through the raindrops and the finish on the right hand.
And everything's going the Boomers' way with back-to-back threes. The Boomers, a WNBL chance.
Round 4 of the Cygnett WNBL tips off in the City of Churches as two teams desperate for a win lock horns at the Adelaide Arena. The Canberra Capitals have used the bye week as a chance to reset. After dropping their opening 4 games, they've lost an import but gained a young gun. The Adelaide Lightning are much better than their 1-3 record might suggest. Tonight they get the chance to prove it and to kickstart their season into gear. It looms as a pivotal game for two campaigns. It's our round 4 WNBL action. It's the Lightning and the Caps in Adelaide. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Night Hoops on your home of hoops here in Australia, ESPN. Jason Bennett alongside the 12-time WNBL champion, Carrie Graf. Graffy, firstly, welcome to the team. Fantastic to have you.
It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to this one tonight. It's going to be an intriguing clash.
Well, it's a game that's close to your heart too. It involves the Caps for a start, but also two of your pupils when you were back coaching, Kristen Veal and Nat Hurst. More on them in a moment. They've had a difficult start, both of them, for very different reasons. Adelaide have played the top 3 teams in the competition, and Canberra, well, they're at the start of a pretty significant rebuild.
Yeah, absolutely, Jace. It's challenging for both, but I think in a different, more so for Canberra. They're coming from behind. It's an absolute refresh. Their focus has got to be back to basics and just see if they can stay positive and try and keep a margin in this game, take the focus off trying to win and just get through process. For Adelaide, on the other hand, confidence off the back of a win against Sydney. They're going to be ready to come out firing like they did last week.
Time now to welcome the third member of our commentary team this evening as we head courtside and welcome in Candy Hurts. And Candy, plenty of movement on the roster front for the Caps this week.
Hi guys, a few notable ins and outs tonight for the Canberra Caps. It is an interesting one because they say a quick farewell to their import Takea Cohen and a very quick hello to their brand new import. It is Nicole Munga. Now she was recently just playing in the NBL 1. She is a guard and she is a gun shooter, which is exactly what the team are going to need if they're going to get that first win on the board. Unfortunately, Britt Smart's still out for a few more weeks with a foot injury, but a big welcome back to our Jade Melbourne. If you're a Jade Melbourne fan, get excited because she is suiting back up tonight. Now hopefully you can see the top that I'm wearing and that the teams are warming up in as well. It is for the very first time ever in the Cygnett WNBL, the Fighting Period Poverty Round. We are supporting our charity partners, Share the Dignity. One way that you can support is to buy one of these fantastic t-shirts off the WNBL website. We've got lots more ways that you can get involved and we'll be sharing them throughout the broadcast.
Candy, more on that at half-time. Well, tonight, as I mentioned, we've got a match-up between two first-year coaches. Carrie, you know them both well. They played 4 seasons together under you at the Caps. They won 3 championships, 662 games, 11 championships between them as players, but now a new challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Both in their first year as coaches. Kristen Veal has plied her trade at the Basketball Australia Centre of Excellence, just like her mentor Paul Goris did. Nat Hurst, on the other hand, has been playing a coach trade in the NBL 1 with the Canberra Nationals. Both different players. Veal was a tall point guard, flashy passer. Nat Hurst, as we see on screen, was a diminutive point guard, could shoot the 3, could shoot the pull-up jumper, and really grew into a great court leader.
Let's get straight into Carrie's keys to the game. We're going to start with the home team, Adelaide. 3 losses to the top 3 teams. Tell us the keys to success for them tonight.
Look, I think the first key for them is their defensive pressure early, to take confidence away from Canberra, not let them jump out of the gun early. Can they play focused for 40 minutes? They've had games where they've been in, they've lost a bit of momentum. And then lastly, or secondly, their ball and player movement. They've got 5 players that score in double digits. They need the ball not to stick to get movement. For the Canberra team, on the other hand, for them, I think critically it's going to be team first mindset. Are they back on this bus together? They have to play defence. That's the utmost critically important thing for them. Can they have defensive effort, defensive focus? And lastly, possession game. They've got to be able to come up with possession on the boards, not turn the ball over, and put themselves in a situation where they can keep this margin close.
So fascinating. Both these coaches wanted to play the same style of basketball at the start of the season. They sat down with their new teams. Up-tempo, physical, fast, aggressive. But 4 games in, Kristen Veal realises she doesn't have the cattle to do that right now, so she's gone back to basics.
Absolutely, and smart call by Kristen Veal to do that. They've had injury after injury, players out. They really need to go back to basics, particularly at the defensive end. Simplify their offense, but really focus on that defensive end, on what is it that they can do to stop teams. So
the head-to-head between these two teams, relatively even over the last 12 seasons. Adelaide building a 2016 advantage, including 2 games to 1 in the grand final of 2018-19. 2 teams fighting to find some winning momentum and jumpstart their season. Wednesday night hoops, our round 4 ESPN WNBL game of the week. It's the Lightning and the Caps at the Adelaide Arena, and away we go. Adelaide with first possession. Lauren Mansfield, what a pickup she's been. Munro inside. Good start for Talbot.
Excellent ball movement. We talked about it early. Good movement, cut him behind. Coach Kristenville won't be happy with that defence. That's been a problem for them in these first 4 games, is getting back cut. They'll need to address that immediately.
Melbourne and Swain, 2 great young talents of Australian basketball. Bunton, long-range shot. Won't go from Burrell. Adelaide ball. There's Ray Burrell, 22-year-old from Las Vegas, played a college basketball at Tennessee and now in the WNBA with the LA Sparks. Munro with the feed inside to Steph Talbot, who this Adelaide team's been built around. We said to Nat Hurst, where did you start? She said, we started with Steph Talbot and wanted to put the pieces around Steph to let her do what she does best, and that's exactly what they were trying to do there with Munro. It's cut off, and here's Melbourne. Perpetual motion, Jade Melbourne. Over the top, Bunton couldn't control it.
That's what they need to look at. The injection of Jade Melbourne back into this Capitals lineup is going to be huge for them tonight. We see her push tempo, and the great thing to see there was Alex Bunton getting on the point of the rim. At 6'6", she needs to get herself close to the basket to see if they can get some easy scores for the Capitals, as we see Adelaide now setting up in their quarter-court set again.
Long-range shot is good from Whittle. What a weapon she can be, Marina Whittle, if she's allowed to hit her spots.
That's our first $50 for fighting poverty.
Share the dignity. $50 for every 3-pointer sunk across round 4. And we are on the board thanks to Marina Whittle. Inside ball to Bunton. Works on Munro. Little fadeaway, won't quite go.
Signature move for Bunton. That's what the Capitals need. She's got to step up tonight, see if she can get on the scoreboard and on the board, see if she can come up with a double-double for them. As Whittle is feeling it early, can't make that 3.
Now a chance to push the pace through Burrell. Over the top. And they're on the board through Whittle Harmon. And a little settler there for Canberra. Munro. Mansfield's open, and that spells trouble.
Wow. Has she been on fire from the 3-point line this season, shooting an outrageous clip at 56%. That's $100 and counting. She could get 5,000 on her own the way she shoots that 3.
It's for a good cause. Keep pulling the trigger, Lauren Mansfield. Here's Melbourne. Works on Whittle, sticks to the task, forces the turnover. Great start here for Adelaide. Here's Mansfield again. Keeps it alive, but Burrell pushes it down floor. Melbourne can't finish. Great pressure from Talbot affected the shot. Turnover will come again. Whittle loses the handle. Now it's Talbot and Melbourne, and Jade comes up with the points.
Wow, the intensity right now, it feels like a final. You know, we're talking about the team that's sitting 8th, the team that's sitting 6th, but the intensity in the up and down tempo is monumental.
Not this time for Mansfield. Jade Melbourne back into the lineup after missing the last 2 weeks. Some ligament problems in her right ankle. Great to have her back, captaining this team at 20 years of age. Munro got involved. Mansfield getting plenty of it early, looking really dangerous. Little floater from Lauren, little heavy. And Swain off to Melbourne.
Capitals control the tempo here, which is good to see. They need a bit of both. They can't just get in a foot race with Adelaide. As we see Melbourne get on the rim.
Munro tidies it up to Mansfield. High octane pace from Adelaide.
Woo! 100
Kirsten Bell drains another. The 22-year-old from Canton, Ohio, experienced a WNBA championship with Las Vegas this season. Little Harmon. Nice little step there from Swain. Shook her opponent, couldn't finish. Bunton, Melbourne, short. Well done, Swain again, keeps it alive. Clever move from Shanice Swain.
Wow, hasn't she been a highlight for the start of this season for the UC Capitals? Getting an opportunity to play with all their injuries, as we see great tempo push by the Lightning and Munro finish.
Well, Shanice Swain was going to be sitting in behind Gemma Potter and Ray Burrell and just getting some minutes off the bench. And as you mentioned, now she's a starter. She's got to step up.
And that she has. I think she's shown she can put the ball on the floor and get downhill and get to the rim. We saw her quite confident take that three on the break. It's interesting to see what the coaches will do in these timeouts. Nice momentum timeout called by Kristen Veal. She could feel the momentum certainly going Adelaide's way.
This timeout brought to you by CTM Sport. If you're considering travelling interstate with your team, consider CTM Sport. Competitive, innovative, customised travel solutions. Visit ctmsport.com.au to learn more. Let's have a listen in to Kristen Veal in the Canberra huddle. So Kristen Veal at the start of the week was telling us that most important defensively, don't force the action, just get bodies between the shooter and the basket and make every shot contested. That hasn't quite gone to plan so far.
It's been Adelaide's running game. You know, their ability to get out and run is a trademark of theirs. They do it exceptionally well. They can get on the rim. They can pull up and shoot the three, as we saw Bell did. So it's for the Capitals right now, it's their defensive transition. They've got to do a job there first before you can even hold a team in the half court.
7-point margin, Lightning lead it. Almost at the midway point of this opening term. Wednesday night hoops, our ESPN WNBL game of the week. Great to have you with us. Adelaide and Canberra at Adelaide Arena. Swain, Whittle-Harmon, Pizzy into the game. Here's the first gamer, Munga. Whittle-Harmon, nice.
Attacking, look, she's got more opportunity now. There's going to be more opportunity for Pizzy, more opportunity for Whittle-Harmon with the departure of Dakia Cohen, as we see Steph Talbot with another back cut.
Quick response from Adelaide.
Wow, how good is Talbot?
Whittle-Harmon. Melbourne. Pizzy. Will it go for Jade? It won't quite. Munro off to Bell.
Looking to create.
Mansfield, look at the speed. Through they go again. This is Whittle. Munga off to Melbourne. Whittle-Harmon to Swain. Long two is deadly. What a young talent she is. Building her resilience and her toughness at this level as a starter. Expect to see her make enormous strides this season. She already has.
See some switching defense from the UC Capitals and another back cut. Wow, they execute that. It's that 8 points now off back cuts. I think that might have been the point of the timeout from Kristen Veal. How do we defend those back cuts? Let's play back foot denial, force them to catch the ball in front of us, and then let's play some one-on-one.
Pizzy to Swain for three. Bell. Now Mansfield.
Defensive transition again. Better job by Melbourne to pick up the ball with Mansfield, but
that movement from Adelaide. It's all about speed and movement right now.
They're putting on a clinic in the full court. Their ability to push tempo and score within that first 8 seconds is exceptional.
Melbourne confronted by Whittle. Needs some support. It comes from Harmon.
Great pressure there by Lauren Mansfield. Boy, she's had a great start to this season. You know, shooting the three ball exceptionally well, getting downhill, and her ability to force something for a team there with great pressure. As we said, Bell put it on the floor with a behind the head pass into Munro for the finish.
Exciting offense, isn't it? It's so high octane from Adelaide. Everything's just go, go, go. Nat Hurst said she'd love her team to be able to play in 6th gear for the full 40 minutes. Obviously, they can't do that. There's going to have to be times in the game when they slow things up. But when they have the opportunity to pin their ears back and go for it, they do. They do.
And it's fun. It's fun to play. And, you know, speaking to Nat Hurst today, she said, we don't want to play half-court, boring Euro ball. And what we're seeing is the sort of basketball she wants her team to play. And are they playing it exceptionally well at the moment? 19 points in, 6.5 minutes. They're on fire in terms of their fast break basketball.
Down from Talbot to Bell. Good scrap here. Talbot just wrenches it back. Sets her feet. Not quite. Well done, Munga. Had the scrap on the deck and then came up with the board. Kalea to Swain. Mansfield. Well done, Munro. Swain lost it, found it again. Bunton. Here's Munga for her first points in the WNBL. Draws a foul. So Nicole Munga, 25-year-old, originally from Central Bucks, which is about 50 minutes north of Philadelphia. Played her college ball at Michigan, big powerhouse school in the US, had a fantastic career there. Joined the 1,000-point club at Michigan. Was captain of the team in 2018 and 2019. Then went and became a director of recruiting and player personnel at Fordham University, Carrie. So got a bit of front office experience to sort of round out her basketball credentials. Went and played a couple of years in Spain, had a great NBL 1 season this year, and now gets her opportunity.
She did, and then she ices a couple of free throws. And it suggests she's got good basketball IQ, you know, to move at a young age into that sort of player recruitment, coaching space. But be interested to see how she goes. You know, she's had one practice with this team. Her visa came through today to allow her to play, but she'll certainly add to this group.
Bola is into the game, steps through some traffic and finishes. And we speak of young talents. She's as exciting as any young talent in Australia right now.
Absolutely. She's, you know, her ability, she's got great size, good length, and she can just find a way to finish. And I think that's what is unique about her, is that she makes tough shots.
I said to Nat Hurst today, Izzy Borlay's future opal. She said 100% future opal. I said, what's the time frame? She said she wouldn't be surprised if it was inside the next 2 years.
And I think that's the key thing for these young athletes. You know, Borlays, Jade Melbourne, again, all products out of the Basketball Australia Centre of Excellence at the AIS. They need to set their targets on Paris. That's the team they should be aiming to make. Now, they may or may not make it, but that's what they should be looking to do.
Swain. Cabillo into the game for Adelaide. There's the guarding job on Kalea, who floats it wide. And 3 for Pizzi.
Wow. I'm liking the dollars that we're racking up here with the 3 ball. Look, I think Adelaide would have been happy with that defence. I think they would have dared Pizzi to shoot that. They packed in on Alex Button's rim roll and dared the other post player, Pizzi, to shoot it. But Pizzi stepped up and nailed it.
She's a 24% three-point shooter in her career. So, as you say, if they've done their scouting, they would have given her that shot every time. And she made it. It's a 6-point game.
Keeps them in touch.
Kalea.
We see pressure defence by Cabillo. She's renowned for that. She can get up full court and extend her pressure. Her former team, the Canberra Capitals, now suiting up for Adelaide as their backup point guard.
Yeah, interesting. When I spoke to Kristen and we said, why is Cabillo gone? Did she not want to stay? She said no, she wanted to stay, but we didn't feel comfortable offering her a third-string point guard position, because at that stage, Talia Tupea was still on the roster as well. Jade Melbourne was there, and they thought she was a better player than that, so you're going to have an opportunity to go somewhere and be the second string, so they let her go. Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, unfortunately, Tupea pulled out for personal reasons, you know, 4 weeks out from the season, and, you know, could have been a different scenario with Cabillo probably, you know, starting for a while here.
Shot from Bunton won't go.
Great possession by Munga.
Pizzi. Bunton. Powers her way through and one.
That's what she needs to do. I've been impressed with Bunton's start. She's been getting on the rim, close to the rim. She's 6'6", she's powerful. That's what she needs to do, get close to the rim, finds a way here to potentially get a 3-point play, backs herself down. Great finish.
Good couple of minutes here from Canberra. They've just taken the speed and momentum out of the game from Adelaide, and in a blink of an eye, it's a 3-point game again.
Absolutely. When you're making shots, you don't have to defend defensive transition. It's when you're missing and teams like Adelaide can run it down your throat. So they're staying in touch here. I'm sure Kristen Villa will be happy with their performance at both ends of the floor. Now it's Cabillo for 3. Not quite.
Pulls it out. Setting the feed is Sam Simons.
We might have to call them the period poverty Adelaide Lightning at the rate they're going.
Setting a cracking pace in this opening term. Already up to 22 points. Burrell, 24 rather. Nice from Burrell. She's classy.
She is. The interior penetration's really helping Canberra Capitals right now, putting the ball on the floor, seeing what Adelaide are going to do. Are they collapsing on it? But they're right in touch here.
So this has been a great response. Good composure here from Canberra. They got blown away early as Adelaide got everything they wanted and more. Borlays pops it over the top. Brooke. Another turnover. Here comes Burrell. Has an option. Munga. Bunton in best position. It's a 2-point game.
Capitals, Coach Kristenville will be happy with this. Their last set, their defensive rotation was on point. They came up with possession, come down, take a nice perimeter shot, Bunton on the rim to rebound it. They're playing the sort of basketball that Kristenville expects them to play.
Wallace receives from Cabillo, gives it back now. That flashing motion that we saw early on just dried up a little bit. Simon's tough shot. Can Burrell keep it alive? She cannot. It will be an Adelaide ball with 12 seconds left in the opening term.
Interesting to see what they go to here. Are they going to play for the last shot, try and shoot the ball with 4 seconds, or will they take whatever they get and allow Canberra a chance to score another bucket in this opening term?
Simons, Badish, Boulays. Can she step her way through traffic? Badish is open. Quarter time at Adelaide Arena. It was all Adelaide early. Canberra fought back superbly, and at quarter time it's a 2-point game. It's the Lightning 24, the Caps 20. Time at Adelaide Arena. It is the home team leading Canberra by 2 points, 24-22. The Lightning got out to a 9-point lead midway through that term, Carrie, and had the game completely on their terms, but credit to the Caps for the fight back.
Yeah, look, I think they made some good adjustments. Offensively, they executed and found a way to score, which allowed them to slow Adelaide's running game up. You know, Adelaide were on fire early. Canberra Capitals' defensive transition wasn't on song. They were getting hurt on back cuts. They made some adjustments, had some great rotation defensively in the quarter court, and offensively, they looked to Bunton to go on the inside, which was exceptional, and critically, they won the boards 11-8.
Picked up 7 second chance points to 3 as a result. Got themselves back into the contest. Here's Jade Melbourne to start the second term up against Cabillo. Here is Bunton on the inside. Can she use her size advantage? Happy to kick it back out to Melbourne. Back to Bunton. Harmon. Burrell in the corner. She traps. Cleverly off the foot of Brooke. Retains possession here for the Caps.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Will it be here? Will it be Melbourne on the rim? Will it be Bunton down low?
It's Bunton on the rim.
Nice little play.
Floated it deep. Badish. Cabillo's open.
Defensive confusion there, lack of communication by the UC Capitals on the switches. Melbourne downhill on the break. Such energy as always for Jade Melbourne. A real energy player, real effort player.
And a real spark and a leader for this team. It's a huge season, but a great opportunity for Jade Melbourne. Thrust into a position she wouldn't have been expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think if you've got leadership qualities, it doesn't matter your age. And for her, critically, it's a chance to try and really, explore and expose those with this team, not only as a scorer and a creator, but also to actually lead the group from the point guard position.
Little Harmon to Burrell for three. Brook off to Cabillo.
Good offensive execution by the UC Capitals. They're using their sets to try and get shots for the right people in the right spots.
Borlase, Simons inside, Munro against Bunton. Nice board there from Izzy Borlase. And they set up again. Cabillo inside, goes to Munro, and a foul on Bunton.
Cheap foul for Bunton there. I think she could just use her size, step off a little bit. She wasn't going to get her hand in on that one. Cheap foul that certainly she doesn't need to utilise right then.
Good identification there from Cabillo. She realised Munro had good position. Here's Abby again. So quick. Will she take Melbourne on? She does. Nice little step to the left. Takes it all the way to the rack. Well played, Abby Cabillo.
She may have done that in practice against Jade Melbourne last season, I think. Coach Nat Hurst rotating her bench through here. We're seeing a lot of the second string on at the moment and doing well for the Lightning. Offensive patience by UC Capitals here.
Tonks to Whittle Harmon. Ends up with Burrell, who was fouled. So Ray Burrell coming in as an importer after an impressive college career and taken at pick 9 in this year's WNBA draft by the Sparks. Just played the 3 games, had knee surgery in May. So coming off not a lot of basketball. And Kristen Fielder saying, look, after a month now being in the program, she's starting to get up to speed.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that a bit tonight, starting to get a sense of what this league's like. It's also her first pro gig. You can't count a few games in the WNBA as a rookie season as your first true pro gig. So I think we'll see her improve through the season, and we're seeing a bit more of that tonight.
Candy was in the Caps group at quarter time. Candy, what did you hear?
Yeah, having a listen in to the Caps both at the timeout and at quarter time as well, it was all about needing to match up. Honestly, it could have been a drinking game almost, the amount of times that the word match up was said. They also need them to actually switch, but she said the good news is don't need to be perfect, just know your place.
Thanks, Candy. Kristen Field, as we mentioned at the start of the program, really stripping it back to basics, and she's gone now carry into an education phase. She realises she's got a lot of young raw players here who are finding their way at professional level. And maybe she took a few things for granted, made some assumptions. They've made it to the WNBL, but you never stop learning.
Absolutely. I mean, regardless of whether you're a first, second, third, or an athlete like Alex Bunton that's had some years out at retirement at the ripe old age of 28, you're always learning. Veteran players are still learning. So I think it's the right route to go for Coach Kristen Veal with the way this team started and the way it's unfolded in terms of injury and losing athletes, that really focusing on the athletes that can develop and get better. And also, shifting the focus off the win-losses, even though you want to win, but making sure that you're going to try and win through process.
Munro made the first, missed the second. Chance here for Will Harmon. Big block there from Jacinta Munro.
Not in my house, said Munro.
Talbot, Whittle, Simons. Here's Munro at the other end. Not quite. Melbourne reels it in. Pops a pass over the top. Ends up with Burrell. Looks to step around Cabillo, who sticks to the task. Big screen there from Bunton.
Missed for a second. The mismatch. Cabillo was on Bunton for a second as we
Great
see
ball
it go
movement.
inside.
Lovely work from Canberra, starting to get some flow in their offense.
Absolutely, the offense is working for them. You can see there's an interior focus with Bunton rolling to the rim or posting up low. It's creating a bit of havoc for the Adelaide Lightning right now.
They remain within a point. 7 minutes to play in the first half. Adelaide Arena, Wednesday night ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week as Marina Whittle is fouled.
Maybe Alex Bunton's second. If so, I would imagine Kristen Veal might take her out for a minute, but it may not have been.
Sam Simons sits down. Talbot to bring it back into play. Whittle, Munro Now Cabillo. Talbot provides the movement. Tough shot, won't quite. 4 points so far in the game for Steph Talbot. Munro and Bell lead it with 5 for Adelaide, sharing the load as Munro slaps it away from Bunton, and it'll remain a Canberra ball. Bunton's had 9 to lead the game for the Caps, 4 apiece to Swain, Burrell and Whittle-Harmon.
And that's what she needs to do. I mean, for my mind, she's a double-double player, and that's what she should be aiming to do every week. If we can see her here get close to the rim, 6-6, she can score. She's had a putback. She can accumulate 10 points by doing the hard work things and utilising her size close to the rim.
Brilliant work, Steph Talbot. First the read, then the athleticism to pull it off. And they might come up with 3 from it. That shot from Bell won't quite go. Pizzi watches it bounce over the line, and much to her disappointment, it's an Adelaide ball.
Yeah, good effort plays, and Coach Kristen Ville has called for that out of this break for the UC Capitals. Can they play with effort and focus?
Brilliant work there from Talbot. She'll have the inbound once again. And the receive back from Munro. Big screen on Munro, then rolls to the hoop herself. Can't make the finish.
Much better defence, and it's actually a good matchup for Alex Button, the matchup against Munro. She's done that well in the one-on-one scenarios with Munro, and we see absorbing a lot of great help on those ball screens and anything coming to the rim.
Quite the turnaround in this game. It was Adelaide by 9 points midway through the first term. The Caps now have the lead for the first time midway through the second. It's been a great quarter of basketball. The back end of the first and the first half of the second from Canberra got themselves right into this contest. Melbourne has Bunton inside. Will go instead to Swain versus Whittle. Swain quick on her feet, gets to a good position.
Again, good offensive set by the UC Capitals. Bunton was on the rim. Swain gets downhill, can't quite make the shot.
Whittle works on Pizzi. Bunton in best position to pull down the D-board. Oh, the look away from Jade Melbourne was beautiful. And a foul on Pizzi. She'll go to the line.
Good tempo push. I think right now the UC Capitals have got the good mix of they're generally focused on their half-court sets, but if there's an opportunity to run, they'll take it to get an easy one, as we saw Jade Melbourne recognising, pushing tempo, great little look-away pass.
Adelaide with their 5 starters on the floor for that last little period of basketball, yet Canberra still controlling things.
They are. They've got a sense of the tempo, and certainly it helps when you're scoring buckets. The other team can't get out and fast break on you. I think that's what we're seeing is slightly different for them tonight.
This timeout brought to you by Cygnett. Stay connected with the latest WNBL news and social highlights. Keep your favourite tech charged up at home or on the go with Cygnett's range of charging products and digital accessories. Big thanks to Cygnett, powering the WNBL this season. Explore their range at cygnett.com. So a little more urgency in the Adelaide huddle as Nat Hurst starts to lay down the law. She's not happy with what she's seen in the last 10 minutes of basketball.
She might have learned that from one of her coaches previously.
Oh, really?
She was looking at him, and look, she won't be happy with some of the things that are happening. I think they'll look to adjust their defence. Their defence hasn't been what it's been of late. They've been more disruptive defensively. Canberra Capitals really are being able to execute what they like in the quarter-court, and I think Coach Nat Hurst will had a few words to say to her team about that, I'm sure.
5 3-pointers so far sunk in the game, so $250 going to share the dignity. Cygnett WNBL's period poverty round, round 4. More on that at half-time. Still some basketball to play in this second quarter. And some really important minutes too, as the Caps want to continue this run of momentum they have, and it's now the onus on Adelaide to switch things up and regain control.
Yeah, that it is. Let's see if Pizzi can convert these. Not a renowned free throw shooter.
31% career. Oh, great work, Melbourne. Read the pass, kept it alive, and they get the 2 they were looking for.
She's pretty to watch, that little floater. She's got the tricks.
Margin out to 3 now. Great run this. The Caps.
You can see it pep in their step defensively.
Bell. It's Pizzi off balance, but can't quite connect with Munro. And it's a Canberra ball once again.
another back cut, but the thing that helped the UC Capitals then was the fact that Alex Bunton kept ball pressure on the feeder and didn't allow an easy pass through to the back cutter. Bunton again down low, pushed off the block by Munro.
Swain wants to work on Talbot. How's the confidence from the youngster, and almost got it to go.
She's got the quicks, the jets to go.
Mansfield. Now Talbot. Adelaide looking to regain some control in this one. Inside ball was good to Whittle. There was a 2-on-1, but Marina played it beautifully.
She did. This Adelaide Lightning starting group certainly play well together. They know where each other is on the floor. They know their strengths. They find the open man. They move the ball. As we see Melbourne on the back cut, not quite the finish.
Candy Hertz was in the Adelaide huddle at the last time out. Candy, what did you hear?
Nat Hurst not very happy with the team. She said they're moving slowly, they're soft, and they really need to set more screens and move that ball. We are already seeing them put some of that into action.
There's a lot more urgency in the body language of Nat Hurst at that last time out.
That there was. That's why she's going to be a hell of a coach. She knows when to give her team a bit of a rev and give it to them straight between the eyes.
Melbourne makes them both. We said at the start of the game that it's not about wins and losses. Obviously wins, everyone wants a win, but in terms of where Canberra are at right now, it's about the confidence and belief in themselves and the system that's going to be the most important thing for Kristen Veal. She said she can handle losing, that's okay, as long as they bring the effort, the buy-in's there, they give it all they've got, and they play to the plan. So far for Canberra, she'd be delighted with what she's seen since the midway point of the opening term, and they retain possession here.
Yeah, absolutely, Jace. You can see, you know, other than that first 5 minutes where they were getting pummeled on the fast break and their D-trans wasn't on song, their quarter-court defence has been effective, which allows you to get out and run yourself. So if you can create turnovers, you can get a stop, you can get out and push tempo and find some easy buckets. Similarly, their offensive execution has been exceptional to my mind. They've executed, got it to the spots that they want to get in terms of who's effective for them.
Offensive foul.
And I don't think, you know, adding Jade Melbourne back into the group has had a huge impact. There's no question. You know, the starting young star point guard, having been out for a couple of weeks, has really hurt this group.
Moving screen called there. And through the hands of Mansfield. Here's Munga. Sets up and pops it in.
Nice little pull-up. We saw extended defence then on the side out of bounds by Capitals. Obviously, they've put that into their arsenal in this little mini break.
Marching out to 5. Bell.
Some switching defence again by the UC Capitals on that high handoff action.
Talbot goes inside. Canberra ball. Lightning just looking a little flat right now.
They are, and, you know, Coach Hurst spoke, you know, earlier today about, you know, they knew Canberra were going to come in potentially with some renewed confidence, addition of some players, Melbourne back in, and that's certainly been the case.
And the bye week came at a great time for Canberra to have that reset. Throw out the old game plan that was a little bit too difficult for these players to play and create a set of schemes that work for the skill sets they have on the floor, and that seems to be the case right now. Whittle Harmon, the turnaround won't go. Mansfield, can she get some energy and put some speed on the ball? Whittle's always a ball of energy.
Even the effort on possession, we saw 4 blue singlets then on the defensive boards. Those are the things you control. You can control the possession game, you control blockouts, you control effort things, and the UC Capitals have certainly taken strides in those areas of the game.
Munga to the corner for Swain. Comes up empty. So 3 minutes left in the first half. It's the Caps leading by 5 after the Lightning had a 9-point lead midway through the opening term. There is Nicole Munga making her WNBL debut tonight. Her clearance to play only came through this afternoon.
It did. She doesn't even have her name on her jersey yet.
Whirlwind 24 hours for Nicole. Great to see her out there. Congratulations. The next step in her basketball journey. Here's Mansfield. Swain, heads up play, goes against Bell, wins that contest and misses the finish. Whittle Harmon there, not quite, and gives away a cheap one.
Look, maybe not a bad foul in that instance. Adelaide had the potential then to get out and run, but Swain comes up with a great steal, couldn't get the finish. Great effort to follow up by Emily Harmon, as we'll see Swain there with her length and quicks. Whittle Harmon with a great follow, unlucky not to get a foul call. In my mind, that wasn't a bad foul on Mansfield. She pulled the break up early, smart play.
So timeout call, 2.5 left. Nat Hurst looking for some clarification. And see her frustration. A situation that 20 minutes ago looked to be under control. She was liking what she was seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think it's, you know, that's always going to be the danger for this game for the Adelaide Lightning. We've talked about their style of players, you know, probably hasn't been reflective in their win-loss record. On the other hand, for the Capitals, their style of play was a disaster because they just didn't have the effort and the focus. But let's see what Kristen Veal might have to say in this timeout.
So for Nat Hurst here, how do they get control of the game once again?
Well, I think for them it's got to be at the defensive end. I mean, the Canberra Capitals are executing pretty well. They're finishing some shots. But then if they don't get stops, the Adelaide Lightning can't get out and run. And I think that's what's, you know, the Canberra Capitals' ability to move the ball, execute themselves, find some finishes has really had an impact on Adelaide's ability to get out and run, which gave them that early lead. It also puts a team like Adelaide, who like to run and get a high-scoring game, under pressure. You know, they're not getting the easy buckets they got in that first 5 minutes. Similarly, at the other end, the Canberra Capitals have, you know, forced Adelaide maybe to go into some things, a little more pressure, that they're not getting the shots, creating some turnovers. I'm sure Nat Hurst will go back to what she said earlier. They need player movement and ball movement, which we haven't seen in the last few minutes from them, the Adelaide Lightning in the half court.
So both teams in the bonus, which sends Mansfield to the line to shoot 2. Let's head courtside to Candy.
Listening into Vealy, guys, she was a lot calmer than Nat was in the last time out. All about the switch, all about the plays. And you know what? This time she didn't mention the word matchup.
Probably because she really likes what she's got right now. Matchups are working for the Caps. Here's Kalea up against Mansfield. Movement comes from Munga. Now Burrell. Back to Swain. Little one over the top. And a travel on Emily Whittle Harmon, having a frustrating couple of minutes.
Yeah, unfortunate for her. And, you know, it called earlier that foul was a smart foul. In the bonus, it probably wasn't. But, you know, right idea that, you know, Adelaide play generally with a small ball lineup. They have one post in Munro playing with Whittle Harmon as an undersized 4. So the Capitals are doing the right thing, going to their bigs, but unfortunate for Whittle Harmon. Then I thought she got ahead of herself and probably eyes lit up that she might like to score and travelled instead, as we saw Mansfield couldn't make the reverse.
And Whittle Harmon, I think another foul on Emily. She's having a horror couple of minutes.
There might be a sub in a moment. We might see Bunton back on the floor. But Coach Kristen Veal will be happy with her efforts. You know, at least she's being physical. You'd rather that than someone not engaged, not playing intensely. If they're giving away a foul on a physical block out, as a coach, you always do that.
And as predicted, Alex Bunton checks back in for Emily Whittle Harmon, who takes a seat with 2 minutes left in the second term. Jacinta Munro to the line. She's 2 for 6 this season at the free throw stripe. Make that 2 for 7.
So maybe that was a good foul by Whittle Harmon.
Makes the second.
Mansfield with extended pressure on Kalea.
Burrell. Now Swain. Burrell goes deep. Swain so light on her feet. Not a lot of room to get through there. Bell with the big block, but a foul's been called.
It has. Look, some, you know, good ball screen execution. Bunton with the rim roll. There was a switch for a minute, the 3-way switch for Adelaide. Bell, it was a pretty physical foul. I think that was more than callable.
Shanae Swain, brilliant youngster, 19-year-old from Cairns. Took up the game at the age of 5. A couple of years at the Centre of Excellence in Canberra from 2016, but did an ACL in that time, then had stress fractures in her shins coming into last season. So again, had an extended period away from the game, but she's come back in superb shape this season, and you can see the results.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, out of unfortunate circumstance for her, this is a highlight. She gets an opportunity to play and really explore. As we see a 3 launched for the Lightning. They've gone a little cold.
Delays couldn't get it to go. Can Burrell answer at the other end? Another foul called. As we mentioned, both teams in the bonus.
UC Capitals doing a great job of putting the ball on the floor, really attacking from the perimeter, see if they can draw a foul, get themselves on the rim. Good little shot fake then.
Burrell getting better by the week. Finding her ID in this team and in this league, working out where she fits. And again, the sort of player that when you strip it back to basics and she comes into a new team in a new league, she's the sort of player that can benefit from that. Let's keep it simple and hey, we're just going to create opportunities. You go do your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, she gets a sense of how to play people here. You know, it's the matchups for her. She'd be familiar with Bell from Adelaide when she's matched up on her. We've seen her a few times on Talbot at the moment. She's guarding Belay. So I think adjusting to the quality of the talent of the perimeter players in this league is big for her. As we see Bell shake and bake, can't hit it from the perimeter.
They were 4 for 7 from 3-point range in the first term. They're now 4 for 11. Make that 4 for 12. So zip for 5 in this second term. One's waved away. Shanice Swain stepping on the sideline.
3 possessions left in this second quarter. Let's see if Adelaide can execute. They'll get two cracks at it here.
Mansfield floats it to Munro. Bell provides some movement. Now ball lays, wraps around, gets into the lane. Well done, Munga.
Munga stayed on the play, then got caught up on that screen action, but stayed in the play and came up with a great possession. But unfortunately, the possession arrow is with Adelaide.
Great heads-up play there from Nicole. Frustration for Izzy. Talbot calls Izzy Borlase to the corner, comes in, floats, it goes in, rolls around, comes out, and Talbot finishes it up.
Who else but Talbot? When you need a bucket, there she is.
Up to 6 points for Steph. Relatively quiet first half. Bunton flips it out. She was in good position, then just lost the handle on it, and from there it was a scramble. She was.
And look, they're going to just keep going to that. Put Bunton on the rim, go to that and work off her. You know, can they cut off her? Can she spit it back out for perimeter shots, or can she get a finish? You'll see, you know, the superstar Talbot. You know, amongst this team, Talbot does so many things. She doesn't always have to be their highest scorer. In fact, in most of their games, they've had a great spread of scoring, but she comes up with a bucket when they need it from hard work plays.
Final 10 seconds of the half. Ball's in the hands of Mansfield. Can she make something happen? It's short. Time still for Canberra if they can move it quickly. And a costly foul in the bonus late in the quarter. They're the ones that frustrate the coach.
They do. It's that fine line. Do you put them on the line and stop the potential fast break?
There's the look on the face of Steph Talbot. She plays the eyes.
The eye roll says it all.
So Lizzie Tonks heads to the line. 1 for 2 from the stripe this season.
Tonks another one for the UC Capitals that, you know, finds herself in a situation that prior to Talia Tapei coming out, she was looking at a development play contract. Tapei pulls out and she's elevated into the 10.
She makes them both. A 25-year-old from Coffs Harbour. It's out to a 5-point lead. Final seconds of the term. Can Talbot finish? She can't. And the Canberra Caps, trailed by 2 points at quarter time. They lead by 5 at the half. It's a 14-point turnaround from midway through the first term.
Yeah, look, Coach Kristen Veal's got to be exceptionally happy with this. Of course, they're leading by 5. What a result for them to date, where they've been in a lot of their games prior blown out by half-time. But, you know, their defence, they're following the game plan. Defensive effort and focus, good rotations, talk, switching. At the offensive end, patience, executing, getting the ball inside the button. They've been impressive. They certainly don't look like a team that are 0-4 and have, you know, lost 4 or 5 players this season through injury and departure. So they're in great form.
So for Nat Hurst, first-year coach, when you have a situation like this where you're playing against a team that hasn't won a game, but you're sort of being dragged down and you've got to find a way, that's the challenge for them at half-time. Let's head courtside. Here's Candy.
We are joined with Alex Bunton. Alex, well done. Great quarter for you guys, and of course, very happy to be in front this half. Tempo is definitely something that I would use to describe it, and intensity. How are you describing that half?
Look, at the start of the game, I said to the girls, let's have fun out there, and with fun comes handling adversity with the highs and lows that we have, unity coming together, and just hard work. And we've kept that tempo up because we're enjoying what we're doing and we're sticking together after a rough start to the season. That unity definitely feels like it's there. Of course, you guys hungry for that first win. What do you need to do this next half? Keep doing what we're doing and, fight for every possession, fight for every board, stay poised in what we're doing, but also believe that we can get it done. Congrats, Alex. Good luck for the next half. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Candy, thanks to Alex Bunton. Well, it's a 5-point game at half-time. You look at the points for turnovers, 11-6. That's the 5-point differential, Candy, Carrie, and it speaks to exactly what Alex Bunton was talking about there, which is their hustle.
Yeah, absolutely. Their effort defensively in particular has gone through the roof. I mean, this literally is a different team than the last four weeks, but certainly they are, and they're feeding off their defence. They've got some easier buckets. They've rotated better defensively, as we saw, on the highlights there, Cabillo get into the rim, but I think their effort there, coming up with steals, the intensity and energy that Jade Melbourne's brought as a spark has shifted that for them. So, they'll certainly be happy with where they're at right now.
Let's check the numbers to half-time. As you mentioned, the Adelaide Lightning were 4.
Take them on yours and then airdrop it to me.
Love free is all good and ready for you to have a gander at, Jason? Perfect, thank you very much. Alrighty, Jason, I'm just going to check your nails.
Feel free to turn it up a little bit, mate.
Turn it up a little bit.
On this one, yeah, I think it was reasonably quiet early on.
Is that all right?
I'll be there for you. And
fighting. Period. Poverty.
1 in 5 Australian women are forced to improvise on period products.
Around 50% admitted to wearing a sanitary product for more than 4 hours because they didn't have enough to get by.
No person should ever go without these essentials.
Access to period products are a right, not a privilege.
This experience is more common than we think, but not spoken about enough.
We menstruate. Get over it. This season, we're supporting the charity Share the Dignity with their mission to end the stigma around periods and period poverty in Australia.
Visit the WNBL website for more.
And together, let's fight period poverty.
Round 4 is period poverty round in the Cygnett WNBL. An important conversation starter as the league partners with national charity Share the Dignity. It's my great pleasure to welcome the founder and the managing director, Rochelle Courtney. Rochelle, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here. What a game.
It's a really important conversation that you've started, and we've just been talking about it off air, and makes you realise that it isn't something that gets talked about enough. You guys have done some really important work in this space, and you're learning more and more as you go. The research is compelling.
It is compelling. It is mind-blowing to know that so many people in Australia, nearly a quarter of women in Australia, have been through period poverty.
How do you define period poverty?
Period poverty is when you're unable to afford the very basic of essentials to be able to deal with your period.
So unable to buy all the necessary sanitary items, etc., to be able to healthily manage and look after yourself.
Yeah, and as we were talking about, it's not a topic that anyone wants to talk about when we're talking about periods or poverty, right? Join them together, it's a big ask.
Some of the numbers in your bloody big survey revealed alarming stats. 1 in 5 Australian menstruators are forced to improvise on period products. 40% have had to change to a less suitable product because of cost. 49% have worn a tampon or pad for more than 4 hours because they don't have enough to get by. 48% have missed education classes due to their periods, and 65% have missed sport due to their periods. It's a significant issue.
Well, when we know better, we can do better, right? These stats were alarming, and they are the biggest amount of data that the world's ever seen on menstruation, which is crazy in itself. But to be here and to be talking about period poverty and to see the girls back this and to make sure that there isn't a person in Australia who doesn't know that this problem exists is exciting.
So you've joined forces with the WNBL to raise some funds, the first goal being $25,000 for the installation of a Dignity vending machine. How can WNBL fans get involved and support the cause?
Look, the best thing you can do is probably purchase one of these shirts for $35 online. I mean, that doubles up as a conversation starter and helps raise money to help us to eradicate period poverty in Australia.
Well, thanks again for your time. We really appreciate it. It's a wonderful cause. So right across the weekend, get online, have a look at the period poverty T-shirt. There's been some wonderful other activities involved as well, and some bins and things at Bunnings where people can go and make donations and put some sanitary products and those sort of things in there as well. So congratulations on all the work. As I mentioned, it's a really important conversation to have. Round 4 in the Cygnett WNBL is period poverty round. They tried by 9 points midway through the first term. It's been a wonderful comeback. Candy Hertz has been courtside and listened in to both coaches.
First up, Veely had a message for the team to just take care of the off-ball defence and to just be patient, hang in there against that pressure. Very much opposed to that. I spoke to assistant coach Matt Clark and he said, be more aggressive, be quicker, let's move the ball more. They did a really good job of doing that in the first quarter, and that was when they were up. But then, of course, they got slowed down a bit in that second quarter, which they then, of course, lost.
Thanks, Candy. As we get set for the third term. Canberra growing in confidence. Adelaide now. We're going to learn a little bit about this lineup, Carrie. It's one thing to have the game on your terms and have a great plan A, which they do have, but now what's their plan B look like?
Yeah, look, I think they've got to go back to what they know works for them. They're still got to try and push tempo, challenge that defensive transition of the Capitals again, make some adjustments to the switching defence. The Capitals have disrupted them a little bit of that. I think start to look at some of their back cuts that they did early in the term and just know that the way they've been playing previously has set them up. Having said that, they're playing a re-enlivened, reinvigorated, different look UC Capitals that right now, as you say, have wrestled the game back and put it right back on their own terms.
They're a really talented lineup, the Adelaide Lightning. Let's see if they can fight their way back on top in this third term, or whether Canberra can retain control as we get set for second half action on our ESPN WNBL Game of the Week. Great to have you with us each and every Wednesday night right throughout the season here on your home of hoops, ESPN and KO Sports. The Caps hunting their first win of the season. Adelaide their second. As we get set for second half action, Melbourne will start it off. Swain. Back to Melbourne. Apologies for the technical difficulties we're having with the clock at the moment. Melbourne almost took Bunton's head off. Was not expecting that at all. Burrell got it back, hoisted up a prayer, came up short. Broken play there for Canberra to start the second half.
Clearly some better defensive intensity from the Adelaide Lightning on that stanza as Mansfield launches the three.
They have gone ice cold from long range.
That they have, and it's been a strength of theirs to start this season. They've got 3 or 4 athletes that can shoot the ball, or have been shooting the ball at close to 50% from the three-point line, other than Marina Whittle, who's struggled so far this season. But this is a team that can swing pretty quickly.
Swain to Melbourne. Oh, great work from Munro. Melbourne hits the floor hard. Kirsten Bell, can she start to have an impact on the contest? Talbot, nice ball movement. Mansfield wide open.
There she go. What are we up to now? About $400? She needed that. Look, had her feet set. Good ball movement by Adelaide Lightning. Talbot gives it up to swing it onto the wide open shooter in Mansfield. That'll relieve some offensive pressure for them.
Naming right sponsor Cygnett kicking in $50 to our Share the Dignity charity for every three-pointer made across the weekend.
Burrell, as we see, putting the ball on the floor and a nice little crossover against Bell. We mentioned earlier, she'll have some confidence playing against Bell. Similar ages, come out of college and had their rookie seasons in the WNBA, so she'll feel some confidence matching up with her and taking it to her, as we saw then as she bobbles in the first free throw.
Shoots it well. She's super long. Hasn't always translated to defence, according to Kristen Veal. Didn't play D in college, wasn't required to.
Often the way for scorers, but I think she'll make some adjustments. Players learn and adapt, and she's certainly got the length and the athleticism to defend. It becomes a mindset that, can you hold your man and can you play one-on-one D?
Kristen wants to work on her power and that calculated aggression.
We see the mismatch here. Mansfield with Pizzi on her. Didn't take it.
Well, Munro. Shot clock down to 2. Tough shot from Munro, and she makes it.
That is tough. Little mid-range turnaround, little mid-range inside pivot. Nice stroke. Thought Button had been playing good space on her early. Maybe gave her a little too much space that time. Shorten up that distance.
Lovely touch from Jacinta Munro. 2-point game. Adelaide looking to rally here. Near the crowd starting to get behind this team. Melbourne into traffic. Flips it back out. Swain. She's under pressure. Talbot versus Melbourne. Kicks it out. Swain from the corner. Here goes Lauren Mansfield.
This is danger here. Adelaide Lightning on the break. Mansfield probing, pulls back for the three. Not to be.
Jade holds it up this time. Doesn't want to get into a foot race up and down the floor.
Smart move. They're not going to win that up and down contest. Grind out the half court unless there's an obvious fast break opportunities. We see the ball screen action with Burrell and Button.
It's waved away. Disappointment for Burrell, who is really starting to feel it. She's growing in stature as this game goes on, but offensive foul, Adelaide ball.
Yeah, unfortunately there we see Button maybe just, got caught a little bit unlucky. Maybe she was trying to roll down, get out of the way. Tough call sometimes when you're just trying to negotiate your way down to the rim, but she clearly sealed in that defender trying to go under that screen.
Burrell has a rest. Mansfield links up with Munro.
Bell off three screens.
And here is Bell. It's short off the back of Shanice Swain's hand, so it'll remain an Adelaide ball.
Again, the defensive intensity and the concept of working together more as a team is overt from the UC Capitals, as we see, Bell has to shoot that over a hand. She came off three screens to get open, but she had to shoot that fading away over a big hand. We know she can do that, but the more you pressure those shooters, as we see Talbot on the back down and turn around.
Every shot contested. That's what Kristen Veal wanted from her team. That's what she's getting right now. Swain. Hold off the ball. Foul on Munro. It'll go for the hold on Pizzi. There's Nat Hurst.
Right idea again by the UC Capitals. Can they get the ball to the interior, to their posts, sitting deep in the lane? Or can they get the ball on the interior with the downhill drives, which we've seen from Burrell and Melbourne and Swain?
This is Melbourne.
Button with a good seal on the rim, but Munro matching it with her physicality down low.
Munger puts it on the floor. Nice finish, Nicole Munger.
Thought she was going to float that into Button. It was well disguised as a little loop fade away.
Had a couple of good moments in her debut.
That she has.
Here's Mansfield. Side down by 4. Munro to the corner. Team needs it, but Talbot can't find it.
We see Button packing off Munro, knowing that she hasn't got that deep 2 range.
Melbourne sees an opening and takes it.
That's what she's so good at. Her read of the game. She, probing, not pushing tempo, just seeing, take it, she's open. Boy, has she had an impact on this team.
6-point lead. Bell puts it on the floor into traffic. Foul on Munger. This is Kirsten Bell, 22-year-old from Canton, Ohio.
Excellent free throw shooter, excellent three-point shooter. We see her here then give a little shot fake, put it on the deck. She's getting played really tight because she's such a good shooter. She recognised that and put the ball on the floor, gets herself to the free throw line.
Super athlete.
She swishes the first.
Nat Hurst has basically just said to her, listen, we're going to give you the ball. You're going to go find a shot and do what you do. You're going to play with that sort of freedom. You'll settle into this team and we'll learn around you. Melbourne puts on the Jets, wants to try and push Mansfield. Back to Pizzi. She goes herself. Good move, Beck Pizzi.
Pizzi with the point guard skills. Downhill from the high post. Beck Pizzi has stepped up. Hits a 3 from the corner in the first quarter, puts it on the deck and finishes on the rim.
Having an impact. Growing in confidence is Talbot. Trying to lift her team. Draws a foul.
The superstar says, let me help here. She just plays with such great poise now, Talbot. Draws a foul. Knows she can step up to the free throw line and make both.
League MVP a couple of seasons ago. One of the most pleasing things of the World Cup recently, Carrie, I think, was that Steph got to really elevate to another level in front of Australian audiences, her home crowd, her family, her friends. She's played some wonderful basketball around the world. We saw her go to another level at that World Cup.
Yeah, that she did. And to be, to make an all-star team at a World Championship, huge. On your home court, and as we've said through this call, she plays all over the floor. She's a world-class defender. She gets on the glass. She can get on the rim. She can shoot the 3. She's got a mid-range game. She's a leader for this team. She's got the whole package. You see Munger on the back cut.
She's going to be a fan favourite, Nicole Munger. Got to love her intensity and effort. Munro, she's confronted by Melbourne. Got a little bit out of control. Foul called.
Only her first. The big girls putting on the point guard skills today. Not sure that Nat Hurst would be loving that Munro's trying to handle the ball on the break.
Canberra by 4 points. Midway point of this third term. Munro, ball lays, and now Talbot calls for Bell to come across and provide a screen. Talbot wraps around, gets to the rack, can't finish. Whittle Harmon, lovely handle there from Swain. Will she hold up? Offensive foul against Alex Bunton.
It's tough for someone Bunton's size, running full tilt.
Cannons into Kirsten Bell.
Smart play by Bell. See, knows Bunton wants to get that deep catch position. I think Bunton's just suggesting that perhaps Bell flopped. You know, it's easy for referees to call it. You know, Bunton's got an amazing body. She's got to be 6'6" and close to 100 kilos, all power. You know, Kirsten Bell's not a midget. You know, she's got some size. I'm not sure that Bunce hit it to the deck, but that's what the referees calls. As we see it launched from the three. Again, the three not just rolling for this Adelaide Lightning team, but the putback.
Ball lays. Adelaide hanging in. Can they get their noses back in front? They trail by 2 right now. Ball in the hands of Jade Melbourne. And on the same page as Swain. Great heads-up play. Keeps it alive. And it's guess who? It's Munga. Whittle Harmon. Goes herself. Tries to spin move on Brooke. Adelaide ball. Ball lays. Throws it away. Can Talbot control it? She can. Keeps it alive. Back to Mansfield. She's got ball lays set. Well done, Talbot. How did she get there so quick?
She just finds a way, and you know, she can do the flashy things, but what makes her so great is she does the tough, hard work thing. She always gets to the offensive boards, and when you do that, great things happen. You get a putback for your team. It's back to level, 47 apiece. 3.5 minutes to play in this third quarter.
When you think it was 24-22 at quarter time, you can see what a grind it's become since, which has suited Canberra perfectly. And again, the Caps lose the handle. Adelaide ball. They're starting to ratchet up the pressure here. We mentioned, could they get their noses in front? Well, they have the opportunity to do that right now.
That they do. Some big plays from Talbot in the last couple of minutes, leading for her team. Can the UC Capitals get a stop here?
Just sense Adelaide the last few minutes just starting to wrench the momentum back their way. Ball lays. Now Brooke. Mansfield against Swain. Draws a crowd. Feeds it through cleverly to Talbot. And the Lightning are back in front.
Wow, you know, Nat Hurst called for a team at the start of the game. Can they get player movement and ball movement? They see that, you know, Canberra Capitals doing a good job to try and halt that, as we see Harmon put it on the deck and one.
So an opportunity for Canberra to snatch the lead straight back through Emily Harmon, who's had a frustrating night, but her effort's been outstanding.
That it has, and we see here, you know, being much more attacking, offensive mindset, and that's what this team need. Dakaya Cohen's departed. There's 30 minutes that she'd been averaging that's going to be spread around between Bunton, Harmon, and Pizzi. All have had some impact this evening.
Only her 17th WNBL game, but she's a veteran of this team at 32 years of age, originally from Pickerington, Ohio. Played her college ball at Ohio State and has been around the Australian system since 2015. Played a lot of basketball. A leader on this team, as is Mansfield for Adelaide. Whittle. Ball lays. Nice step. Feeds over the top to Whittle. And one at the other end.
Momentum. Certainly, as you say, heading Adelaide's way. It'd be interesting to see if Coach Kristen Veal pulls a timeout shortly. Does she hang on to it, considering it's going to be a potentially close game down the stretch? Some subs happening on the free throws. We see great little hook pass. Adelaide getting some deep catches at the minute.
Was 9 for 11 from the strike this season, Marina Whittle, but she leaves one on the table there. Remains a 1-point game. Kalea. As Munga putting some movement on, she's covered by
the Adelaide Lightning.
It's Whittle. Now Melbourne. Shot clock to 5. Tough shot for Harmon. Adelaide scurry away again. looking to pile on some pressure late. Talbot, Whittle, gets it back. Talbot sets up. Won't go. You can see Adelaide trying to work their way out of their funk here, trying to get that high-octane ball movement going again.
Pushing tempo off the misses. They're just dried up from that three-point line. We see the Capitals' execution off some of that ball screen action's been quite effective. Haven't been able to finish, but the Adelaide Lightning are certainly packing in and collapsing on any rim rolls.
It's 1 for 13, their last 13 from three-point range, Adelaide. Gone from 4 for 7 to 5 for 20. Flip over the top from Tonks. Tough shot, Burrell. Look.
Great defensive rotation by the Adelaide Lightning to force that turnaround by Burrell, who now defends Talbot.
Brooke inside ball, Whittle. Won't go, but she'll go to the line and shoot 2 more.
Great recognition by the Adelaide Lightning. Mismatch down low. Jade Melbourne was matched up on Marina Whittle.
It's been a good response from Adelaide. Started to put the foot down from midway through this quarter. Hasn't come in a rush as it did at the start of the game. They've had to do it a different way. They've grinded their way steadily and now have an opportunity to go 3 points up.
That they have, and they've found a way to get the ball in deep. You know, their three-point shot hasn't been rolling. They've had a real interior focus. Can they get cutting action to the rim? Can they put the ball on the floor, draw some defense, throw a dump pass?
It'll make them both, and they do lead by 3 points with 95 seconds left in the third term. So now it's spotlight back on the Caps. They've had a really good couple of quarters in the middle of the game. Now the pressure's being heaped on them by a really good team. They have to hold their nerve.
Yeah, that they do. You know, it'd be interesting to see now, do they try and go back inside, get Button back on the floor? Are they running some ball screen action for Melbourne? Maybe at the end of their sets.
Intensity written all over Kristen Veal's face. Munson. Off to Tonks. He loses the handle. They'll retain possession. It was knocked away by Borlays. There's Lizzie, 25-year-old from Coffs Harbour. Plays her NBL 1 basketball at Canberra Nationals. Under Nat Hurst. Coaching against her tonight. Burrell works on Talbot. Shots heavy. Munro off to Cabillo. Can Abby have an impact here? Whittle thought about the 3. Goes against Whittle Harmon. Takes it all the way to the rack.
Smart play by Whittle versus Whittle Harmon. Knew that she had an advantage in terms of speed here. Gave it a little shot fake and put it on the deck hard with a great finish.
So now it's Adelaide in control. They're up by 5. Important final minute here for Canberra. Can they stabilise the situation?
Cabillo's got the job on Melbourne as we see Talbot come up with a steal.
Burrell did everything she could to stay away and not give the foul, but the whistle came as Steph crashed to the floor.
Getting a little rest is Steph Talbot. She plays at such a huge work rate. A little chuckle that she tripped perhaps over the line.
Didn't look to be a lot in it. Ray Burrell was doing her best to actually stay out of the way, but foul was called as Steph hit the floor. So 50 seconds remaining. The Lightning have worked their way from 5 points down at the half to 5 points up now. They've done it steadily.
Coach Kristen Veal will certainly be happy with the scoreline in terms of holding Adelaide Lightning at this stage to 55. You know, they've been a team scoring in the high 80s. Can they hold this team to, you know, under 75? That would be a monumental effort for where they've been. That would certainly be a score that's achievable for them to beat. But looking at this one now, I think this, you know, it may well be under a 70-point ball game.
So Adelaide in the bonus. Steph Talbot will go to the line. Career 74% free throw shooter. She's made 2 tonight. 3 for 3 on the season. Apologies, Steph.
That old commentator curse.
Marching back out to 6. Canberra needs some points here. They're called an unsportsmanlike. Adelaide have got the ball back. Talbot was on the break. No one between her and the basket. She was taken down. Must be an unsportsmanlike. Borlase, Munro. So Adelaide now with possession. Borlase can't finish. So no harm done from that perspective. Melbourne. Tonks is wide open. They need it. Lizzie brings it. Huge bucket.
Massive.
In the context of the game, it halves the deficit back to 3.
And another $50 donation to fighting period poverty.
Lays to Simons. Nice cut from Cabillo.
That looks like the start of the game, the back cut.
And then Abby gets involved, gets her hands on it, but fouls in the process.
Well executed back cut. This Adelaide Lightning team executed superbly. Any sort of denial on the wing. Hard back cut. The feeder knows it's coming. No rotation there for the UC Capitals defensively. And Abby Cabillo with the pressure D, but gets the foul call.
Final play potentially of the term. Cabillo against Melbourne. 2 young guns going at it. Bunton. Back to Jade Melbourne. Shot clock to single digits. Confronted by Munro. Shakes her. Gets into the lane. Bunton for the finish. Won't go.
Well executed play down the stretch. Not to be for them scoring-wise, but wow, what a quarter of basketball.
24 points to 14 in that third term as the Lightning. Game of momentum swings. Adelaide by 2 points at quarter time. Canberra by 5 at the half. Adelaide now by 5 as we start the final term at Adelaide Arena. A Wednesday night hoops on ESPN. The Caps hunting their first win of the season. The Lightning their second. It's Adelaide by 5 as we start the last quarter. Mansfield. Munro. Simons. Back to Lauren. Borlase. Whittle. Nicely worked from Adelaide.
Shot. Well, I thought that was pretty good defence by the UC Capitals. They had a hand in the face, but wow, what a shot.
She's quite a talent, isn't she, Marina Whittle? At her said if she can get that mid-range and three-point ball going, she's just about impossible to stop. She can do everything. She can post up, she can hit the mid-range, she can hit the three-point shot.
And she's hard to guard. You know, they play small ball with her in the 4 spot, so it's tough for teams that play 2 traditional post types because she can pull them out on the perimeter and make shots like that.
Turnover there from the Caps gives Adelaide another look here. They're out to a 7-point lead. Important for Canberra to be steady early in this final term, not to let Adelaide slip away and put a margin on them.
Hand check called by Swain then. Ball lays on the drive. I know it was...
Yep, ball lays.
Ball lays.
Frustration on the face of Swain. So Canberra needs some stops here. Prevent Adelaide from really powering up again. High-octane offense. Borlays pulls up. Chance here for the Caps.
Needed that stop, pushing tempo, but just...
Burrell turns it over. Munro, long reach. Mansfield. Borlays carves her way through. Suddenly it's a 9-point game.
We might see a timeout any second now from Coach Kristen Veal just to arrest the momentum.
Melbourne. Oh! Team on her back. Can reach it back to 7.
Melbourne have changed momentum with a quick score. It's all got to be back at this defensive end for the Caps. Dig in deep defensively. Wow!
Slices her way through.
Mansfield.
Lauren up to 10 points. Talbot's got 13. Whittle's on 11. And now Mansfield 10. So 3 in double figures. Bunton has 12 for the Caps. This is Swain. Working on ball lays. Whittle comes across the double team. Pizzi. Burrell was open, couldn't make the shot. Lauren Mansfield now really starting to assert herself on this game.
And a bit of fatigue, I think, setting in for the UC Capitals. They've gone away from executing their offense, shooting some quick shots, putting it on deck too soon. They really need to keep, going back to what worked for them. Grind out their half-court offense, get the ball on the interior with a feed to the bigs or on penetration, but not doing that too quick, and it's an obvious fast break look. Shots early in the shot clock aren't great for them at this point in the game.
Munro to Mansfield, back to Munro. They worked it well. Adelaide, you can see, have got their feet back underneath them. Their confidence is up again. They realise they're back in control.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, hitting big shots, moving the ball, getting shots for people. Yeah, it's probably a touch out of Munro's range, but she nailed it. They'll take that.
Pizzi being harassed by Whittle. Swain comes in to provide support to the corner. Burrell works on Munro. Draws a foul.
You can see the confidence in the huddles there, as you say, Adelaide Lightning. Pep in their step as they come into that, as we see Burrell on the little crossover between the legs, finds a foul.
Let's head courtside, here's Candy.
Candy can't hear commentary at the moment.
Come back to Candy shortly.
Referee's called for the wet spot on the court to be cleared up. A chance for the Capitals to reset their base out of bounds play here. Adelaide's rotation defense has been on song in this 4th quarter.
Burrell the inbound. Melbourne. Critical possessions these for Canberra. Just trying to hang in. They trail by 11.
Travel call.
There's a travel on Burrell. No Dakia Cohen, who's headed back to the US. More responsibility, more opportunity for Burrell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good things tonight. Here's Whittle, lovely feed inside. What a find that was.
Great pass. As we spoke about earlier, the starting group, the core group for this Adelaide Lightning team plays so well together. They know where each other are on the court. As Melbourne takes the baseline drive, kicks it out to Munga.
12-point run for Adelaide.
Finds a finish, Burrell.
They need these as they try to halt this Adelaide momentum. Steps through, so athletic. Ray Burrell.
Not quite executing as well as they did in that 2nd and 3rd quarter. It's 1 or 2 passes, and then they're looking to put it on the deck. I'd like to see them move the ball around again. Can they get it on the interior? Great finish to convert the three-point play by Burrell.
Back to 10. Mansfield had a real stabilising impact in this second half. Started the game on fire, faded a little bit out of the game, and then when they needed her to step up again, Simons makes the 2.
Adelaide doing what they will offensively is Munga into the lane with the finish on the little mid-range floater.
And one for the first gamer who has really brought something tonight. Effort, energy.
And a nice finish. Boy, that little floater she's got, it's nice.
And some skill. Coming off the bench. 8 points so far. Chance to make it 9. And has certainly not looked out of place on debut.
No, certainly has not. And with one practice and a shoot around under her belt, I think there's more to come from her.
Whittle, lovely.
The back cut.
There's been some pretty back cuts tonight. Adelaide have used it superbly. And that's how you've been able to tell when they're really on their game.
They read, they read when there's pressure, they hit the back cut, and they've got the ability, great abilities. We see good ball movement by the UC Caps, and Burrell cuts deep for the feed-off button.
Borlase with some speed, draws a foul.
And that's where Adelaide can be so damaging. Capitals come down, get a nice score off good ball movement. Within 5 seconds, they're back up the other end, scoring a layup on you.
Listening to Nat Hurst during the week, she was telling us about their training. Their regular training session is 2 hours, and the first 90 seconds is just basically 90 minutes, is running up and down the court, practicing this high-octane offense with what they call a loose shot clock. Carrie, do you want to just explain what that means and why they would train that way?
That's the style they want to play. They want to, they've got the fitness to play that up-tempo game for 40 minutes of the game. And we're seeing them now with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. They're still playing at tempo. You score a basket they're looking to score in that first 8 seconds of the shot clock. If they can get out and create a numbers advantage, 3-on-2, 2-on-1, 4-on-3, they'll take it. And you can see that's where they've managed to get this momentum back in the game. They get a stop, they run it down your throat. It's tough to defend.
This timeout brought to you by DIY Blinds, Australian-made designer quality window furnishings at the best price. Head to DIYblinds.com.au. Nat Hurst would be absolutely delighted with the way her team's responded. They've showed composure and poise. Managed to get themselves back in control of the game.
She's looking a little calmer than she did in the timeout in the second quarter.
Both these first-year coaches have ridden the roller coaster tonight.
They have, and that's the beauty of this game, and that's the challenge of coaching. How can you help manage the momentum of your team with your team?
So if you're Kristen Field right now, 11 points down, 6 minutes remaining, what's instruction?
I think they've got to stick with what was working for them. I think they've gone to shooting the ball too quick, putting it on the deck after one pass. They need to go back to what was working for them and find a way to stop the defensive transition. They scored a good bucket, were slow to get back on D-trans, and Adelaide, here they are converting a three-point play off the back of a made basket with a defensive transition.
Super impressive, Izzy Borlase. What a future she has, the 18-year-old. Melbourne. Her team down by 12. Can Jade work some magic here? First game back after 2 weeks out with an ankle injury. Off to Bunton. Back to Melbourne. Turns it over. Bell there, ready to grab it. Put some speed on. Little behind that pass to Munro for the finish.
I think we might see that in the top 5 plays of the week next week. Pretty little behind the back pass, great finish. Munro's range, that mid-range 2 has been rolling in this second half. So we see the ball into Bunton. Capitals need a conversion here, now down 14, 5 minutes to play.
Unger puts it on the floor, tough shot. Bunton tidies it up.
Bunton's done a superb job this evening to get close to the rim, find herself some easy putback baskets.
The speed of the game has risen again, the tempo's up, it's back on Adelaide's terms. Hustling up and down the floor. Trying to make baskets, as you said, carrying the first 8 to 11 seconds on the shot clock. This one they've had to go deep on. Didn't work for them. Munga still got run in her legs. Now runs into some trouble.
Jump ball called.
Her teammates couldn't go with it. She took off down the floor, then turned around and the support wasn't there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a bit of fatigue in this Capitals group right now. We saw that in the turnover from Jade Melbourne. Maybe that's a little fatigue. Munga maybe on this one could have pulled it out, waited for some support, cleared it out, let Button get to the rim. Physicality defensively by the Adelaide Lightning to push off screens here.
Melbourne. Inside. Little Harmon won't go. Bell. Mansfield. Now Borlase. Does she take Munga on? She does. Oh, that's beautiful to watch.
Boy, she can finish. Off left foot, right foot, takes a bump, maintains a balance in the air and finds a way to finish. That kid has got game.
Game high, 14-point lead. Lightning finishing strong. Melbourne, lovely work on Bell. Oh, gee, that'd be a tough shot. Munro. Bell. And a little one there from Melbourne gives away the foul.
Probably not a terrible foul. Prevented Adelaide getting out on the break.
It's been restricted in what she can do over the last couple of weeks. In fact, she only had one full practice session in the last 2 weeks, Jade Melbourne. She's played 27 minutes tonight, giving her team everything.
Yeah, and look, she's, coming off that injury, she'll get to a point where she can play more. She's a 30, 35-minute a game player for this team. But off the back of injury, your fitness is down, and they've got to manage her too. There's a run home for the Capitals in the lead up to Christmas with 3 home games. But we saw tonight we've seen tonight the impact that she can have with this team as we see Burrell shake it loose.
Swain to Burrell for the finish. There's some athleticism in this team. When you look at Melbourne, you look at Swain, you look at Burrell, just for 3 straight off the top of your head.
Yeah, they've got jets.
Mansfield, been great. Whittle, wow, to Munro.
Their ability to find cutters is superb from the Adelaide Lightning. They get the ball deep, your head turn, they find the next player. Great team basketball by the Adelaide Lightning offensively.
Lauren Mansfield's really stepped up as a leader tonight. 8 points herself, 5 assists from her. She's been the facilitator. And Jacinta Munro, sneakily, up to 17 points.
Yeah, the second half, she's really lit it up from that mid-range. She's got the nice mid-range too. She's nailed quite a few of those.
Melbourne. Oh, that's a tough finish. That's brilliant. In fact, it was Swain, rather. Shanice Swain, brilliant. Such good signs from her. Mansfield, oh, the step on Burrell. Can she finish? No, Ray sticks to it.
I mean, this is exciting basketball. Who would think, we're looking at a team that's sitting on the bottom of the ladder, a team that are, 6th. The quality of the basketball is phenomenal today. There's been some elite passing, some wonderful offensive execution, the physicality defensively. As we see Munro again stroke the long 2, mid-range 2.
Up to 19 now for Jacinta. 34-year-old from Fort Lauderdale in Florida.
And as fatigue sets in, some of the decision-making now goes out the window as we see Mansfield strip it from Kalia.
Whittle. Munro flies in, can't control it. Jacinta Munro really finding her feet now. She was averaging 9 points a game in her first 4 outings. Come out tonight, had 19 to lead the game. Played at Florida State, played at Washington and Dallas, the WNBA. Spent the last 10 years in Europe playing all over the place. She's a seasoned vet. Swain lays in another 2.
Pull the margin back to 13. Can the Capitals get it under 10 in the next, minute? Give themselves a chance.
Bell, not on the same page that time as Mansfield. Kalea can come away. She's got a 3-on-1. She uses Swain. It's been a huge positive. Shanice Swain, another one of these youngsters thrust into a position of responsibility and leadership ahead of her time. But what an opportunity for her to really grow and develop.
And we're seeing that growth. Momentum timeout called by Coach Nat Hurst. Up by 15, it's back to 11. Good timeout, hold that momentum, try and crush any confidence the Capitals might have coming down the stretch in this last couple of minutes.
This timeout brought to you by Aussie Hoops. It's had its biggest year to date, the Aussie Hoops program. More than 42,000 participants registering to a local Aussie Hoops centre nearby. It's the perfect introduction to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years of age. So whether your little one's a seasoned fan or simply looking to get out there and give it a go, they'll have a great time. AussieHoops.com.
As we see the top scorers there, Munro. Boy, she's had an impact in this second half, making great little mid-range two-point shots. Ball lays has been impressive again with 15. For the Caps, Burrell at 15 and Alex Bunton with 14.
Final 2 minutes at the Adelaide Arena. Jacinta Munro leading the game with 19 points. Burrell's had 15 for Canberra.
So we see the Capitals there trapped, but it's allowed ball lays to get out and create a numbers advantage, but they shake it loose.
Burrell feeds it forward. Munga, short on this occasion. Crashing in there was Burrell.
Wow, great effort played by Burrell. Got on the rim. Coaches will accept fouls in that scenario.
Swain with the inbound. Bunton. Munga. Melbourne. Back to Shanice. Not this time.
Looking for a roller. Didn't see it. Took the shot. Hasn't hit from the perimeter, but she's done a good job to put the ball on the floor this evening. Shanice Swain, as Whittle launches it, rattles in the three.
Marching back out to 14.
Great pressure defense by the Lightning, denying Burrell the ball was Whittle.
Swain. As Bunton rolled to the basket, was knocked away, but it'll remain a Canberra ball.
Right idea on that mid-ball screen. Come off Bunton, let a rim roll, use that great size to get close to the rim.
Kristen Veal, former teammates under Carrie Graf in Canberra. Were they two players that you looked at throughout their playing careers and thought, yep, you've got a coaching career ahead of you?
I must say, when I was in the thick of my coaching, I wasn't thinking about who the next coaches were going to be, but certainly as they evolved, you know, Natty Hurst in particular is a diminutive point guard that really evolved into a floor general, you know, won an MVP in the grand final 10 years after she'd been at the Capitals. You know, won 7 championships with the Canberra Capitals. Kristen Veal, on the other hand, was, you know, probably the brightest spark younger, was probably like Jade Melbourne in terms of someone that everyone thought early was going to have a huge career, and that she did. Flashy passer, could shoot the three. You know, they were quite different players, but certainly have carved out a niche for themselves as coaches, and both having a tough go of it in their opening seasons. But it's a long season, it's round 4, and I'm sure we'll see them continue to evolve as coaches that hang around in this league for a long time and have great success.
Were they students of the game as players?
Absolutely, I think, and both had exceptional work ethics. They were constantly in the gym, constantly working on their game, and absolute students of the game.
14-point lead. Adelaide in control. Bunton receives from Melbourne and gets it to drop.
Good execution again. Bunton close to the rim, effective for the UC Capitals.
Up to 16 points, Alex Bunton. The first time as a starting big in this competition. Before she retired, she was really a second-string big, so it's an opportunity for her, and Kristen Veal said they've put the acid on her a little bit. You're going to have to step up and play as a #1 big.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, prior to retirement, she had a breakout season at the Sydney Flames where she was an impact and was a starter, but the pressure's on her, and we've seen her certainly improve tonight. She's got close to the rim, she's got on the boards, you know, she's scored.
What finish from Burrell there. Well, we've seen Ray Burrell emerge tonight in front of our eyes.
Agreed. I think she, you know, her intensity at both ends of the floor. This we know she can do, put it on the rim and find the finish. But I think her efforts have been impressive tonight at the defensive end, on the glass at times.
Averaging 12 points a game through her first 4 games. She's up to 17 now.
Both coaches utilising their timeouts here. Coach Kristen Veal in particular, I'm sure, to utilise them to, you know, maintain margins, keep coaching, keep working on developing what it is that this group are going to play like, what's their style, what do they do at the end of the game, what do they need to execute, what do they need to focus on defensively.
So the sort of game tonight that both coaches will take plenty from, because they've both had periods of the game where they've been in control, and they've both had periods of the game where it's been taken away from them and they've had to adapt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, one of the focuses for Natty Hurst and her team were to focus for 40 minutes. They won't be happy with that, even though they're likely to come out with the win here tonight, but they won't be happy with the fact that they had, you know, probably the first 5 minutes, the game was all theirs. For the next 15, you'd say, was it the Capitals? But then, boy, did they, Adelaide Lightning, grab it back and say, not in our house, this is our ball game.
47 seconds to play at Adelaide Arena. Round 4 action. The 1 and 3 Lightning, the 0 and 4 Caps. But this, Canberra's best performance of the year so far. They're heading in the right direction.
Absolutely. This is a team now that you can say can beat other teams on their night in the competition. Still, 89 points is probably too many. I think they need to look to keep teams under 80. But having said that, the Adelaide Lightning have got a lot of people that can score. One of those there that didn't quite convert then was Whittle, but they've got, you know, 5 or 6 that can score easily in double digits. It's just, we see Swain on the rim, on the break.
You mentioned fatigue. It was Adelaide 34 points at the half, and they're now up to 89. So I think it speaks volumes to what you were talking about. They have got a depleted rotation. They've got a young rotation. And fatigue kicking in, and when you're playing against a team like Adelaide who just want to get into 6th gear at every opportunities, we see Cabillo do exactly that here. It's tiring to be playing that game, running up and down the floor all night.
It is, and when you've got, you know, really probably a rotation of 8, there's, you know, for the Capitals on their bench, they've got 2 development players that have been elevated into to make up the 10.
First gamer?
A first gamer. You know, and hasn't been in WNBL condition. You know, she's played NBL 1 and hasn't obviously been playing. You know, and an Adelaide team, you know, without injuries. I mean, obviously they've had to manage Talbot a little bit minutes-wise with an ongoing minor groin injury, but, you know, they've got a full tilt team that play up-tempo and can play at this tempo for 40 minutes.
So 23 seconds remaining on the clock.
And that's what this style of basketball does to you. The fact that they can play pressure D, they can make you play full tempo. If you're not conditioned to that, that wears you down. Come 4th quarter, as we've seen, it's hard to keep up if that's not the style you're conditioned to play, or if you've got depleted roster and you haven't got the numbers to keep rotating. Which is the realisation Kristen Veal made during the break and decided she would abandon her initial plans to play that high-tempo, extremely physical, aggressive, fast, up-and-back style of basketball. Because whilst this team may get to that stage, Carrie, they're going to have to build their way up to it. Absolutely, and readjust to the group they're now got. We've seen tonight that they can push tempo at times, but that's got to be where it's an obvious break. I don't think they're going to be the team that's going to be, all right, we're going to push tempo every time. We'll be opportunistic tempo pushes. Other than that, we want to see execution. That also slows down the clock, and you don't want to get into an up and down game with the Adelaide Lightning when they're on song.
Final 23 seconds of the game. Munro up to 21 points. Borlase has had 15. Burrell so impressive tonight with 18, and Alex Bunton also put together a really handy game. Munga to Tonks. Back to Nicole. Can she come up with the final points of the night on debut? Instead, she dishes off to Swain. Still alive, Burrell. Lovely move from Ray Burrell. Wow. The pennies dropped for her tonight. She's good enough to dominate in this league. And as this game's rolled on, she's taken more and more liberties, been more and more aggressive. And Kristen Veal's just said to her, hey, get off the leash, go do what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Put it on the deck and make something happen, and give me effort at the defensive end. And I think we've seen that tonight, that she's, you know, mostly tried to do it within the context of play, but when there's been an opportunity to penetrate, she has.
The Lightning strike twice. Adelaide pick up their 2nd win of the season. Back-to-back victories. The ideal preparation for a return bout with the Southside Flyers this coming Saturday night. Adelaide improved to 2 and 3, while the Caps now have a 10-day break to continue building their game ahead of a home clash with the Flames on December 10. It's the Lightning 90, Caps 80. So 32 points in the final term for Adelaide as they managed to finally break the shackles. Having said that, Canberra put on 27 of their own. It was a high-scoring final quarter.
It was, and look, that's I think something that Coach Kristen Veal and the team will be a little disappointed about, that fourth quarter got away from them in terms of that scoring spread, that they couldn't maintain that containment of Adelaide's running game. Their defensive transition as they got fatigued was tough for them, but certainly a massive improvement. This team showed tonight that they can compete in this league, that they've come out of this refresh break reinvigorated with a new look and certainly had a great impact.
Jacinta Munro, 34-year-old from Fort Lauderdale, extensive experience in the WNBA and in Europe, and here she is with Candy.
Get caught off guard.
Guys, I'm down here with our player of the game, Jacinta Munro, 21.6 rebounds. That first quarter was fantastic, a grind after that, and then an incredible final quarter. What changed?
Well, we started playing passive. We got out really quick, we got out tough, and then we let off the gas a little bit. So coach got after us, we got after ourselves, and then we came together and got the win.
Now, you guys just had a massive break there, but now you've got a very short one before your next game, taking on the Flyers. How do you keep this momentum going?
We just got to stay focused. We know that it's going to be a quick turnaround, but we've had that at the very beginning of the season with quick games coming up. So we just got to stay poised and stay focused.
Congratulations. Good luck for the rest of the round.
Thanks so much.
Fantastic work from our player of the game, Jacinta Munro. We are going to have a chat now to Coach Natter, stepping straight in here. Congratulations. Second one in the books. It must feel good.
Yes, it feels good. Not too happy about the way we went about stuff. We've got a lot to work on, but credit to Caps, they came out and they really took it to us.
Now, lots that you can take out of that game. I'm sure you're going to sit and spend some time on tape, of course. Is there any initial thoughts?
Yeah, just the physicality. We didn't match these guys. I think they ran their game plan against us. They pushed the ball down our throat, and it's exactly what we wanted to do. So like I said, credit to the Caps. We have a lot to take away from this game, but, happy to get the win.
And that the team are really clicking now. What's changed for you guys?
Getting a win always helps the other week. But, the group's confident. They all trust each other. They're confident in themselves. So if we come out and stick with what we do, good things happen for us.
Fantastic work. Congratulations on your second win, Nat.
Thank you very much.
Adelaide Lightning go to 2 and 3. They are winners on Wednesday Night Hoops on ESPN. It's Adelaide. It was a game of swinging momentum at Adelaide Arena. It was the Lightning by 2 points at quarter time, Canberra by 5 points at half time, the Lightning by 5 points at three-quarter time. They scored 32-27 in the final term to run away to a 10-point win and improve their record to 2-3 in season 22-23. Jason Bennett alongside 12-time champion Carrie Graf. And Carrie, positives there for both these teams to take away.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for Adelaide, a win, of course. But for the Canberra Capitals, I think that the change in their defensive intensity, that was huge for them tonight. A focus on executing offence. They look like a team that can compete in this league. Adelaide Lightning, I think, even though they've got the win, won't be as happy with their 40 minutes of play. But, boy, that team can execute offensively and they can run. They're a team they're going to push potentially that top four spot.
Yeah, when they get the game on their terms, they're extremely difficult to stop. We saw it early and we saw it late. Here's the games to come. 1 game down, 5 to come in round 4 of the Cygnett WNBL. Continues on 9 now across the weekend. Tomorrow night, the Flyers and the Flames from 6:30 Eastern. Then a Friday night doubleheader. Top of the table showdown between the Fire and the Spirit. That'll be a fantastic game. Followed by last season's grand finalists, the Lynx and the Boomers in Perth. Saturday night, it's the Lightning back in action. They host the Flyers from 7:30 Eastern. That'll be a good one as well. Then Sunday, the Flames host the Spirit in Sydney. All these games streamed live on 9 now with our ESPN Game of the Week right here every Wednesday night. And next Wednesday, we've got a blockbuster for you. The Melbourne Boomers host the Townsville Fire at the State Basketball Centre. The reigning champs up against the undefeated visitors who are coming for the crown. Tiff Mitchell and Christy Wallace up against Lauren Nicholson and Steph Reid. Mia Murray up against her old team. Promises to be a beauty. You'll catch it right here next Wednesday night on ESPN's Game of the Week. That'll be a ripper.
That will be huge. Looking forward to all of those games, but in particular that one.
Boomers and the Fire. Join us next week. As I mentioned, all those other games streaming live on 9 now right across the weekend. Well, that turned out to be a really entertaining game. We weren't sure what we were going to get from the UC Capitals. They took the bye week off to reset, and it did them the world of good. Yeah, it did. Look, they look like a new team. And in fact, they are a new team. Mungarin, I thought she was impressive, but they played defence. They played together. They executed Coach Kristen Veal's game plan. They've got to be happy. Lots for the Adelaide Lightning fans to be excited about as well. When they get that offence going, they are thrilling to watch. That wraps up tonight's coverage from Adelaide Arena. The Lightning posting their second win of the season. On behalf of Carrie Graf, Candy Hertz, our entire